Welcome everyone to This and That Gaming, episode 14. My name is Dave, and with me as always are my good friends, Darren Dasborg. How are you?
I'm fantastic tonight, guys. How about yourselves?
I'm doing really well. I'm doing really, really well.
That's good.
And
That's good.
of course, the lovely, enigmatic Mr. Mark Cassar. How are you, Mark?
I'm 42 years old, and I don't think I've ever been called lovely before. So thank you, Dave.
What about radiant?
I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well.
Awesome. A lot of news over the last couple of weeks, but before we get on to news, let's talk about what we've been playing. Mark, do you want to kick us off? Sure.
So, since the last episode, I've been playing exactly one game, and that has been Pokemon Shield. Man, I had so much fun with this game. So look, there's been a lot of controversy around it lately, you know, with Pokemon being cut and all that kind of stuff. But I just finished it today. Clocked about 30 hours or so.
That's all right.
And the good thing is, like, it's one of those games when I look back and I look at how much time I put in, and it's like it doesn't feel like 30 hours. It just feels like I just started the game. I won't go into it. I won't bore everyone with the details, but if you're interested in Pokemon, if you like the past games, give it a go. Ignore the hate. It's worth it. Like, my daughter's been playing it as well, and she loves it as well. So, yeah, it's cool. Like, you know, you can do all the max raid battles together and all that kind of stuff. Super fun. Yeah, super, super fun. So that's pretty much it. That's all that's literally all I've touched this past fortnight. So
come on, Mark.
Yeah,
come on, Mark. Do it, please. Do it, please.
Hang on. All right. My Pokemon's, Daz.
Your Pokemons?
Let me show you them.
Oh, I'm so easily amused. Oh, Pokemans.
So it took you around 30 hours, was it, to get through the...
Yeah.
And was it 8? Is it normal 8 gyms that you got to defeat, or
8 gyms? And then there's a bunch of stuff that opens up after that. So it's not like most Pokemon games. You don't just do the gyms and then do the final boss. There's more to it after that. And then even then, once you finish the game, it keeps going, so to speak. Yep. So you have year-end credits, and then there's a bit more stuff that happens after that. You could probably do it quicker, but there's a part in the game called the Wild Area, where it's just like this big open area, and you just like sometimes you can literally get lost in there for like a couple of hours, just like looking for different Pokemon that spawn and stuff like that. So so I probably could have done it maybe a touch quicker, but I reckon 25 to 30 hours is probably your normal time.
Nice.
Yeah, so I had a ton of fun with it, man. It's definitely up there with one of my favorite Pokemon games so far.
And the legendaries, can you unlock them while you're leveling, or is that something you do afterwards? Because my son just finished today as well, the game, so he was curious about that.
Yeah, so he finished it today, so he would have done the first one. So there's one that you'll do at the beginning. So once he goes back into the game, he'll then start moving towards unlocking the box legendary. So the shield one or the sword one. So that's what I'm up to right now as well. I actually haven't gotten the legendary yet. So yeah,
nice.
So yeah.
Daz?
How did your son enjoy it? Sorry, Daz.
Oh no. He loved it. He's got Sword. He started with Score Bunny, I think, was his starter. He's had a good time. He finished it just today. He said he beat the 8th gym leader, I think it was, and then there was some boss or something. I can't remember what he said. So he's now looking at doing the legendary. So, and I've heard the sword legendary looks cool, so
it does.
So is there a lot of replay value?
Because basically, so look, I'll give you just a rough idea, right? So at the moment, I've put in, like I said, I've I've done 30 hours, and I've caught 115 of the 400. So if you want to be a completionist, obviously you're going to go back and try and get the remainder. But after that, then it's more about like PvP and
okay. So is there like a central gym that you can challenge people around the world?
Not so much a central gym. It's just like you connect online, and then there's an option to do trainer battles and stuff. Like I normally don't do that because I'll probably get my ass whooped. But
I think that'll be the fun part. Like, you've built up your Pokemon and say, okay, I'm going to challenge you now.
For me, I just play the games to get through the story type deal. But yeah, look, if I was, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20 years younger, probably into that a bit more.
So look, Mark, see, if I wanted to do it and I had my Pokemans, I'd want to show you them.
Yeah, of course, and I want to see your Pokemon. And I want to let you show me them. Yeah.
Jeez.
It's been really fun. Really, really fun.
Oh, that's good, man. I'm glad that you hear that.
There's my Pokemans.
Oh, look at that.
Across the camera.
Oh, lovely.
It's a bit blurry, but
we can
blurry.
see. Sort of.
But yeah, you can see.
You're not showing me them. Oh, jeez.
That's it. That's me.
Cool.
Daz?
I'm boring this fortnight. To be honest, I hardly had any time. If anything, I bought more games than I played. Look, the only games I played, I've been playing a lot of MAME. As Mark knows, I downloaded it's a CoinOps arcade pack thing that was on Arcade Punk, so I downloaded that just so I can have it on my desktop. And I played a lot of Flying Shark because that's the podcast we're doing next on Arcade Perfect. I played a good 2 hours of that today. So I really had to keep up with it because I've got to get up at 8 in the morning for another podcast. So yeah, I've been boring this fortnight. I did end up getting the next monthly Humble Bundle with Soul Calibur. I thought, well, why not? And I bought I think it was on fanatical.com. It's that River City Ransom Brawler. It was like $1 something. So
oh yeah,
that's it. Yeah. Like I said, I bought more games than I played. Hopefully.
So with the Arcade Punks pack, is that just a MAME pack for
PC? It's PC. Yeah, it's got a nice overlay and UI and all that. It's really cool. I can link it if you like.
Cool.
Yeah, that's me. What about you, Dave?
Short but sweet, Daz. That's how you are. For myself, I've just been playing. We've all been playing. It seems like one game, but I stopped playing Outer Worlds. I kind of got sick of it, so I had a look what else I hadn't played this year that had come out. And surprisingly, when the Division 2 was released, I must have been doing something else because I didn't play it. I played the beta, and then the game came out, and I didn't play it. So I fired that up, and it's really good fun. It's a game that gels with me because it doesn't have, there's not a very giant story around it. There's not loads of dialogue. It's just good, fun shooting, exploring a city, and there's tons of different activities to do. So aside from the main quest line, which is essentially rebuilding Washington, you also have side quests to do. You have rescue missions where there's hostages being held. There's supply drops you might need to, obtain. All these other activities to do, and they're all fun. So you're roaming around the map. You might be on your way to do the main mission, and you'll get totally sidetracked and do 3 other things instead. So I've been playing it for, I think, about close to 30 hours, and I'm around level 28. So I think level 30 is the highest level before you sort of get to doing all the end game stuff.
So is this just multiplayer? Is this just a multiplayer game?
Yeah.
I thought so.
But it's got a single player story that takes a good 30 hours to finish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's all online, which is what I'm doing at the moment. So I'm doing the single player campaign. People can drop in and help you. So if you're struggling with part of the mission, you can sort of send up a distress beacon, and then other people can help you.
Okay.
But essentially, that single player campaign is a good 30 hours worth of adventuring. And on top of that, then, afterwards, you can keep playing solo. But it's kind of fun then to join up with other people and try to do some of the harder challenges in the game. So, yeah, look, I know it's an old game. It came out in March, but it's really, really good. I'm enjoying
old game, dude. I've been playing Flying Shark. That's 1987. So.
Yes, it's 30. What is that? 32 years old.
Yeah.
But it's really, really good. And what makes it good is just the realism. So, we talked a bit about Death Stranding and how, whenever he puts something on his back, you'll see that parcel or that, his shoes change or whatever. The Division's the same. When I change gear, I can see that gear. When I change my backpack, I can colour my weapons and put skins on them. And the weapons have a great feel to them too. So, look, it's good. If you're into a shooting type game, it's brilliant. Absolutely love it. So I've just been mostly playing that. The other thing I did play was a little bit of the Amstrad, because the CPC Retro Dev 2019 finished in November.
Really? Oh, cool.
Yeah. So they have this every year. It's in conjunction with a university in Spain. And they essentially had, I think, 35 entries this year. And they give prizes to students as well as the professional sort of coders. And the winners were announced, and they get prize money and stuff like that. And they also have a special challenge where if you include a certain thing in your game, in this case it was a type of gesture, then you get bonus points. So, there was a few awards for that as well. But some of the games, although they weren't up to the level of, say, Bubba's Palace or Operation Alexandra from previous years, they were a lot of fun. They were simple games, but a lot of fun. There was one called, I think, Cobra, which was kind of like Mario Party.
Oh, okay.
On the Amstrad. It's bizarre. And the mini games were more akin to something like Wario rather than a Mario Party mini game, but you travelled around on a board. So, look, it wasn't super polished, but I was really impressed someone was able to pull off something like that on the Amstrad. So that was really, really cool.
I think that's one thing that might get Mark to get an Amstrad.
Yes.
Yeah.
You'd love to play Wario type games on an Amstrad.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, I played them on a GameCube or on a Wii U when I can play them on an Amstrad.
Listeners, if you only could see Mark's face.
And the top 10 were all really good. But there's another one called Epimeteo or something like that. It was a shooter. That was really nicely done. And
link me, please.
Sorry?
Link me, please, when we're done.
I will link you.
Yep.
And one called Man Pack. Wasn't super polished, but it's basically Pac-Man, except it's the reverse. So instead of...
Okay.
I can't even explain it now, but...
Well, you're like a man that has to eat Pac-Man.
I'm trying to remember it. It's kind of like you've got to do the reverse. So you've got to be... I think you have to be a ghost and Pac-Man has to chase you. I can't remember now. But it was the reverse of what Pac-Man normally is. So I think you have to... Did you have to eat the... Oh, I can't even remember now. This is embarrassing. But I thought it was really well done. And it had multiple levels. It had all the power pellets and power-ups that you'd have. But it played in reverse to Pac-Man. Maybe if I have a look at a screenshot afterwards, I'll explain exactly how that game worked.
Can I play it, David, please? Can I play it?
Yes, of course you can play it. It's G-friendly.
It's G-friendly.
Great for kids.
Mark, can I come to your house and play it, please?
No.
Ah, you're a meanie.
He doesn't have an Amstrad case.
She's upset. She walked away.
So anyway, that was CPC Retro Dev. So if you are into Amstrad, definitely check it out. You can download all the games. They all come with the original source code as well as little manuals and images and stuff like that. So it's really nicely done.
I'm sure we can put that in the description too. What do you reckon?
Yes. Yeah, we'll link it. And the last one was another Amstrad game that came out this month called Chi Man. man, and it's a platformer about sort of a little heavy metal dude. Like he's
cool,
and basically got to go around, collect these medallions, and kill enemies. I found this one really good because the difficulty was sort of spot on. It wasn't too hard like a lot of these platformers are, and it had a nice little track playing as well. So again, you can get that if you Google Cheman, Cheman. I'm sure you'll find it for your Amstrad. Works on all Amstrads. That is all for me for the games I've been playing.
So how's that, Steve? This and that gaming, mate. We cover everything, eh? How cool's that?
We do.
Jeez. I'm blowing smoke up our asses. Oh, jeez. Thank you for the love heart, Mark. That's beautiful.
Beautiful.
Right,
Shall we move on to the news?
The news. Okay, cool.
Alrighty. Let's kick off with the X019. I hope I pronounced that correctly. Xbox Fan Fest in London. Microsoft put on a reasonably good show, and it really was a focus on games and not much else, which was good to see from them. I think the direction they're heading in coming into this next console war is a good one. They're really focusing on their additional studios that they've brought on board and the stuff that they're producing. So I might hand over to Mr. Mark to maybe talk about a couple of his highlights from the Xbox Fan Fest.
Sure thing. So yeah, they announced quite a few games, or new IP and games coming to Xbox. First new IP that they showed was from Rare, of Sea of Thieves, and the rest we all know Rare, called Everwild, which they didn't show a whole lot of, but it looks to be in a kind of fantasy type setting. Very colourful. Graphics kind of had that, almost like that cartoony cell shader look to them. But yeah, no gameplay or anything like that was announced. It was just basically, this is coming to Xbox. They'll also be continuing to work on Sea of Thieves as well while they're doing this at the same time. Looking forward to that. Look, just from the trailer and just the aesthetics, it looks really, really nice. Next one that they showed off, Dave, this will probably might interest you, from Obsidian. New game called Grounded. Looks to be like a survival game. Think of, if you're old like us, think of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, but in game form. So basically, you're playing as a bunch of like 4 kids. And it looks like a co-op game, and you're basically just trying to, I don't know, survive like make your way through to the goal. It didn't look like it took itself too seriously, but again, colourful graphics, probably not something that you maybe would expect from someone like Obsidian, but yeah, it looked fun. I think it was like a first-person shooter type view as well, from what I could tell.
And it had crafting in it as well, it looked like.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's probably going to be something along the lines of, not Battle Royale like Fortnite, but kind of that type deal, because like Fortnite has all the building aspect to it and that type deal. So yeah, we'll see where Obsidian goes with that. Next one that they showed off, this one actually looked really interesting to me, was called West of Dead, which is kind of like a top-down type Western shooter. With zombies and the like, has Ron Perlman doing the voice acting from Hellboy and the like. That looked good. Again, it had like that it was a really dark, cell shaded.
Yeah, it looks cell shaded. Well. It actually reminds me of with a bit more colour, obviously, Mad World on the Wii.
Yeah. Something like that. It looked a little bit different. Actually, this one really stood out to me. So I'm kind of keen to see when that comes out. I might actually buy a game for my Xbox after like 4 years. So it looked not taking piss, but it really did look really quite good. So looking forward to that. They also announced, so if you're on Twitch, there's a good chance you've probably seen this game played quite a bit. It's called Kart Rider. It's very popular, I think, in Korea. That's coming to Game Pass next year to Xbox. called Kart Rider Drift. They showed a fair bit of it.
Doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
It doesn't look. It's not. It is quite an old game as well. But it's going to be free to play.
Can't complain then. Yeah.
If you like your kart racing games, it'll be cool. It's going to be cross-play as well, so look forward to be absolutely demolished by the PC Master Race players from South Korea, no doubt.
I've heard some of the tracks are really, really difficult. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of. It's a typical car racing game in that, there's a lot of shortcuts. The key to doing well is constant drifting and they had a couple of pro players playing it, and this dude was doing 360 spins in the middle of a race to build up drift and turbo and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, look, probably going to be a throwaway game for a lot of people, but price is right. So. And that'll make its money with microtransactions and stuff. Next one, this one was, they showed Bleeding Edge. They announced a new character. This was originally announced at E3. It's like an arena-type fighting game, I guess you could say.
Looks interesting.
Looks quite good. It's got that kind of Overwatch look to it.
It's third person though, isn't it?
For it, and I think that it goes live in March next year, I believe.
It's third person, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's third person.
4v4 or something like that.
4v4, yeah. So think something along the lines of, I don't know, like League of Legends, but more hands-on-ish, more real-time, and more closed-in, fighting against each other.
Power Stone?
So looked quite good. So. And then the rest were pretty much games that are being ported. So they announced Planet Coaster was coming to Xbox One. Artful Escape, that one I can't remember that. For the first time ever, Yakuza 0 and the 2 Kiwami games are coming to Xbox as well. What else did they show? Kingdom Hearts. The previous games, the collections, the 2.8 and all that kind of stuff. I thought these were already on Xbox, but on the Xbox One, but apparently not. So those are coming. I can't remember when they said they were coming. I think maybe this year or early next year. Plus, they also announced a bunch of Final Fantasy games coming as well as, and I must have missed this announcement, but Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, is coming to Xbox One as well. So that's pretty cool.
Wow. Did they mention Phantasy Star at all?
No, they didn't. No, there was no mention of that.
That's strange.
But that's next year though. That's I'm guessing they're probably still working through all the licensing and all that kind of stuff with that one, because I know that Phantasy Star Online 2 is a lot of crossovers with a lot of Japanese anime and stuff. So I'm guessing they're working their way through that. A couple of games that we've got noted down here. Drake Hollow. Again, sorry, I can't remember much about this one. Master Chief Collection and the Halo Reach are coming to PC on December 3rd, which is cool. I'm actually quite looking forward to that. So I'll get smacked by a bunch of people again. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition went live on, was it
Game
Monday?
Pass?
Or
Yeah.
And
like
they showed off some Age of Empires 4, which got us all excited. What else was there? Minecraft Dungeons, April 2020. Again, another game being shoved into that first few months of next year. Microsoft Flight Sim 2020. That looked so nice.
Jesus, it looked good.
Yeah, I'm not into flight sims, but I think I'm going to have to check that one out. That looks really, really cool. And last but not least, I don't know. Do you know much about the Wasteland series, Dave? They made a big deal about this. I don't really know much about it, but you might be able to fill us in.
It's turn-based sort of combat, similar to your kind of XCOM type games, with a story as well. And the first one came out ages ago. I think it was in the 80s. And then they had Wasteland 2, which was, I think, a Kickstarter-funded game and was very successful. Had the director's cut. and now they're doing Wasteland 3. And I've got Wasteland 2. I've been really meaning to play it, just never got around to it. But the people who do play it absolutely love it. So I think that's why they're excited another one is coming. So.
Pop quiz, do you know where the game started?
No.
The C64.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Wow. Exclusive news from Dad.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. Yeah. Electronic Arts. C64, then Apple II, MS-DOS, PC, Macintosh.
Yeah. Because they had an interview with I guess he's the director or the producer, and they did mention as well, like, he had to get the rights back to the game after a certain amount of time. So that's why there's been such this massive time between, like, I think maybe the first and the second.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's why when he did the second one, he went to Kickstarter. And then I think it came out, and then they released maybe a bunch of improvements to it or something along those lines. But yeah, the game looked great, but it's probably not something that's really up my alley. But yeah, the people there were really, really, really keen, and they also announced a bunch of xCloud stuff as well, going head to head with Stadia. I think the main thing that I took away from it was, like, anything that you buy will be available. If you have a physical copy, you'll be able to play the game on xCloud.
Okay, wait, sorry. So can I just interject here? So xCloud's streaming like Stadia then?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that's really good then.
Properly.
Sorry? But done properly?
Done properly.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
We'll get into more of that later. Yeah. Exactly.
And we also...
that's... Sorry, go, Dave.
I was just going to say, they outside of, I think, the Fan Fest, they also announced Age of Empires 3 is going to be remastered as well. So I don't know what the date for that is.
Cool.
Cool.
Madness. There's Age of Empires everywhere.
Yes.
We didn't hear from it for so many years, and just bang, bang, bang. I don't get. They really need to make one for a tablet. They need to make a tablet version of it. I just don't understand why that hasn't happened. You know,
it's a good platform for it. Yeah,
it's perfect, man, for your iPad or Android pad, whatever you want to call it. It's perfect. Even Warcraft 2, mate. But yeah, that's another discussion.
Yeah.
So we briefly touched on xCloud, and of course that leads into Stadia, Google had their launch of Stadia in the US on the 19th of November, just a few days ago. And there was a lot of hoo-ha before the launch. Part of that was that they were initially going to launch with only 12 games, and most of those games, well, pretty much all of them, are games you could get on other platforms already. And then the internet exploded and said 12 games only, that's ridiculous, so they added another 10. So they launched with 22 games. Now, you might sort of say, well, 22 games is a pretty good lineup for a new console, but
they're all old games.
They've already been out.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's a valid argument. I mean, how many of those have you not played, or how many of those have you not played that you do want to play? Not many, I would imagine. Daz, what are your thoughts on Stadia and how its launch and lead up to launch went?
Okay, I did a lot of research on it yesterday, and supposedly a lot of the people that pre-ordered it got like a pack. And so
Founders
Pack, and supposedly a few of them couldn't even log on. They couldn't set it up, and and so they couldn't use it. It was a thing, because they're supposed to receive, some members were supposed to get like an activation key via email for you to use it, but they said probably about 10% of people didn't get it, so they couldn't play the damn thing. And you need to use a Chromecast to play, and you need to install. And this is another thing that some people had problems with. You need to have the app. The Stadia app on your phone to actually do everything, to activate it and do all that stuff. But supposedly it would only install on Google Pixel phones. It would not work on other branded phones. That is insane.
Pixel 3 or whatever.
Sorry?
And be one of the lucky people to actually get the activation code.
So you had so much going against you, even after you've paid, I think it was 130 US or something?
Yeah, something like that.
For something like that. And, so, mate, that's absolutely shit. I mean, that's ridiculous. I don't know what you saw, Dave, but there was a lot of, there's the input lag and all that kind of thing. Did you end up watching Digital Foundry's review of it at all?
I don't know if it was the one I watched. I did watch one where they did a comparison on latency.
Yeah.
And there's definitely additional latency with the Stadia to be expected. I read an article about a person using it sort of throughout the day and their experiences and switching from, say, a home gigabit network to a wireless network and the kind of experiences they had. And it pretty much needs really good bandwidth to work.
Yeah.
And at the moment, you can only use the Chromecast Ultras that ship with the Stadia controllers.
Correct,
you can't use a Chromecast Ultra you already have. Plus, there's a whole bunch of other stuff that they had said they were going to launch with, but isn't there yet. So there's no achievement system. There's no family sharing. They were going to have a buddy pass, so if you bought the Founders, you could invite a friend to play with you. That's not there. The Stream Connect, Crowd Play, State Share, all these other features they were going to have are not present at the moment. And I think, do you have to use a USB-C cable at the moment or something for it to work?
I don't know.
Your phone?
I don't know.
I think there was issues with some people being able to connect to their phone. But anyway, it's been a less than smooth launch. And I think when you're trying to get people to adopt something as new as this, it's probably not the best way to go about it.
It just seems like they rushed it out because Digital Foundry did a test. The only way they could get proper 4K or HD or whatever, or 60 frames, was running a 200 megabit connection. And then they said there was still latency, there was still input lag, etc. It was very clear because there was a comparison you could see between the Xbox One X and that. Xbox One X, I thought, still looked better. They thought that the Stadia looked better.
Yeah,
but they said that the Xbox just still felt like you're playing a game properly. Like it was just smoother and a smoother experience. And then all of a sudden they go, okay, so then we got someone to watch Netflix on the same bandwidth, on the same connection while they were playing. Yeah. And you just see it just went insane. It was blurry. It was just lag, and it's like that's really bad. I mean, mate, a 200 megabit connection. I don't even get that. You know what I mean? With NBN. So I don't know how the hell people are going to be using this. I don't know. It's insane.
It's something we've put up with, say, for a mobile game, because we understand we're potentially playing it over a dodgy connection. But for all our core AAA games that we play on a PC or a console, we're not. I don't know if anyone wants to put up with sudden pixelation of their screen or huge latency, or I've missed that jump because I had some lag. I don't think people want to put up with that. So I don't know. I mean, the Xbox, xCloud will have similar issues, no doubt, right? But they've got other platforms to fall back on.
That's right.
You've always got your console to play. So Google doesn't have that in this situation.
I'd say the only pro to this is that when it works, okay, obviously not now, that you can just select your game, play, and it starts.
That's right.
You don't have to install. There's no, I'm going to play Pokemon's number 15, and I have to install like a 20 gig update. Bang, it just starts. But that's when it's working, or if they get it working, or I don't know. I honestly, I think this is going to be one of Google's failures. I reckon it's not going to. It's going to go along with their They had I remember there was a set of glasses that they had. I can't remember what it was called. It was like a third eye type kind of thing.
Yeah.
I reckon it's going to get thrown in the bin with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what if you want a really good like a wrap up of all the problems with it, the guys from Giant Bombcast got their hands on a unit as well. And some of the things that they mention, for example, Mortal Kombat, the crypt mode where you get a lot of unlocks and stuff doesn't work. The game, even though like they're trying to sell you, because essentially what you're buying is a video feed, right? Mm-hmm. So even though you're buying a 4K feed, the games themselves, they mentioned Mortal Kombat specifically. They didn't really talk about many of the other games, but Mortal Kombat, when it's configured, because you don't get to configure the game, right? But it's configured to run at 1080p. It's not configured to run at a 4K resolution, which is terrible. And these are supposed to be running on like supercomputers, right? Like it's not like your standard PC that you got at home. So these machines should be handling this, but so they're not optimally configured. Parts of the games don't even run. If you want to buy a game, you can't buy it through a web browser. You have to do it through the app. And like Daz alluded to before, if you don't have a Pixel phone, you're screwed.
That's right? Insane, isn't it? That's absolutely insane.
Well, there was just a bunch of there was like a laundry list of complaints, but the one that got me was like, why aren't these games configured to run at like the highest resolution that they possibly can? And considering that they're trying to sell you a 4K feed, it's just ridiculous. Like Daz said, you only get to make one good first impression, and they've definitely not done that this time. Why they would have pushed this out the door so early on is the only thing I can think of is that they're just trying to get in before they're spooked by what Sony and Microsoft are releasing next year. So they're just trying to like get themselves established out there in the market, get a footprint, and then but gamers aren't forgiving, man. We are not a forgiving bunch.
No,
so,
especially if you have to buy the games at full price. That's just insane.
Exactly right. Like, and they actually brought up a really good point on the Bombcast as well. Is like, how are these going to... Mortal Kombat is a prime example, right? That game is rife with DLC. How do these games handle that DLC? And what if the games get taken away? Do you lose all of that stuff? It's just... I don't know, man. Microsoft seems to be doing it the right way. These guys... Bizarre. It's just really, really bizarre.
I was just thinking how crazy things are getting, right? With gaming, we started off with cartridges. Then we moved on to optical media. Then it's hard drives. Then now it's, obviously hard drives, like just downloading. Now you still get to keep the game. Now we're heading for, you pay for nothing now.
Yeah, literally.
It's insane.
You're paying for a license.
That's it for a license. At least, it's like, here I was complaining about just downloading it digitally on your hard drive and thinking, it's still not a physical copy. But at least once the service is over, you can still play it in another 20 years' time. You've got no chance now. So charging per game is insane. They need to adopt a Xbox Game Pass or like a Netflix type such thing, because you're not going to get people paying that. I can't see how people would pay for it's like me paying. It's exactly like you could say. Not even. I was going to say it's like paying for a movie on Google, for example. Like you can buy series and that kind of thing, like on Apple and all that kind of thing. But you can actually download those. They stay on your unit, so it's not the same. So I don't know. This is just a really weird. I don't know. I don't think my brain can handle this situation. It just doesn't make sense to me.
And this is the thing as well. Like to go along with that. Like you're at their mercy.
Yeah.
So you're buying the games, but like look at streaming for like other media, for example, Netflix, right? Netflix have bumped up their prices a couple of times. What's going to stop Google from doing the exact same thing?
That's right.
Like they have got you like by the nuts. So yeah, I mean, if this is the route that we're going down, then man, it's like adios to my favorite hobby and sticking to the retro stuff.
It's true, man.
Basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's, not too far off, like sitting in a rocking chair in front of my front yard, telling people to get off my bloody lawn.
Can I just add as well? So if you bought a game but then didn't pay for the subscription, you wouldn't be able to play the game either, would you?
No. There you go.
Yeah. So you've got to keep paying an ongoing fee on top of paying for the game in order to play it.
It's a farce. That's absolutely shit. It's stupidity.
I mean, there's as far as I'm aware, there's no free option, right?
No, there is.
There is a free
next year apparently. Right. That will only be at a maximum of 1080p.
Yeah,
and that will be a free option where you just buy games, apparently, but you won't need to pay for the sub. Yeah, but that's not there at the moment. So I just think, maybe the tech part of the Google team is really enthusiastic about this, but the marketing team, I don't know what they're thinking. Like, if you want people to adopt something like this, you got to bring it out for literally peanuts, so that when the reviewers review it, they go, yeah, it's got some lag flaws, yeah, it's got some issues with apps and so on, but hey, it only costs $5 a month. Why don't you give it a go? But that's not the message we're going to get from reviewers, because they're going, yeah, it's pretty rubbish, and you're paying for a sub, and you've got to pay for the games at full price. When a lot of those games, mind you, I could go to a physical game store or another digital platform like Steam and get them a lot cheaper as well. So they've literally done nothing to encourage people to want to use this platform.
Yeah, look, I'm going to call it 2 years' time. It's not going to exist. not in this form. No chance.
I'm surprised over the last 2 years, but we'll see.
I'm being generous, yeah.
All right, we'll move on to more positive news or interesting news. So there's been, not rumours, but there's actually been a patent filed by Sony for a cartridge of some sort. And speculation has been rife on the internet as to what this cartridge is for. Some people were saying it potentially could be
a hard drive.
A hard drive, right? Yeah, Dad?
Yeah. Hard drive for the next PlayStation. So it's their own little thing. So you can just swap over, for example. You can have like a terabyte cartridge, have your games on there. Okay, I've run out. Okay, just buy another cartridge, pop it in. Then you can just swap them over and that kind of thing. I don't know if I like that.
The rumours going around, but we did hear, I think, Mark, that they were going with Blu-ray for their storage media, as far as we were aware. Is that correct?
That was confirmed. And they're going to be 100 gigabyte discs.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. Yeah.
Like that.
So, that still doesn't rule out that these would be. I think these would be more to make it easier, because they're putting such a focus on the SSD for the PS5. Basically, like Daz is saying, so if once you run out of space, if you don't want to clear your drive, you just buy another one of these things. Maybe trying to make it like easier to install bigger, I don't know, more room or whatever. Who knows? Because I mean the cost of SSDs are dropping as well. So
I can
think of.
But if it's
that it could be, but
if it's their own thing,
it's definitely going to have a Blu-ray drive.
But if it's their own thing, like Sony does, like for example, look at the PSP's memory card, look at the Vita's memory card. These things ain't going to be cheap. And
no, they wouldn't.
And that's what pisses me off. So if this is going to be a hard drive option, I reckon it's just that's not going to be a good thing for them, because if you look at the problems with those portables, with those memory cards, I think that's what helped kill them. Because people wanted a bigger, especially for the Vita. Man, try getting a Vita memory card for 64 gig. You're looking at nearly $200. It's insane. It's madness.
It's definitely a backward step. Considering I think the PS4 had, you could just buy a drive off the shelf. And you could do the same with the PS3, couldn't you?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
So I think if it is something along those lines, one of the reasons they could argue is that they want people to buy a certain speed for their solid-state drive, so it doesn't detract from the performance of the game, which, is fair enough in one sense, but also could be very costly. I could see EB Games selling something like this for like $300 or $400.
Yeah. That's true.
Now, the other sort of rumor going around with this cartridge is that it's potentially for a handheld that Sony might be working on. Now, Sony have said that they're pretty much done with the handheld market. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it could be a cartridge similar to sort of what the Switch has, little memory cards, or not?
No, I don't reckon they're going to waste their time. The Switch has got too much of a foothold for them to waste their time on that. I personally think. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they entered the handheld market again. I mean, they've tried. They gave it a good shot the last time, but no, I don't think they'll be doing that again.
And it's not like their last two handhelds were shit. I think they're freaking awesome handhelds. I love them both.
Yeah, they're great.
But they're
very unique.
Too. Yeah, but Nintendo they're just because Nintendo's Nintendo, man. People love Nintendo, and their price points were good too. So yeah, nah.
Any other speculation what this might be for?
Not too sure.
No?
Maybe it's for me, so I can play PlayStation 500.
I thought Bruce was going to be along this episode.
I don't know where Bruce is.
Where's your brother?
I don't know where he is, David. No. He left last week. He hasn't been back. Sorry. I'm gonna go.
All right.
See, get upset, dude.
With that sad news, there was also the sad news of the passing of Brad McQuaid. Now, for people who don't know who Brad McQuaid is, he was the designer and producer of EverQuest back in the day. He was very instrumental, basically, in the direction EverQuest had in its early years, which some would argue were the best years of its existence. He also then went on to make a game which didn't get very good reviews, but had a cult following called Vanguard, Saga of Heroes. And after that, he did a Kickstarter for Pantheon, which is another MMO. It didn't succeed, but he then continued to fund it outside of the Kickstarter. And that game has been in sort of development for probably 3 or 4 years, if not longer now. So, look, really sad. I know that his name was sort of revered around EverQuest, and I was a big fan of EverQuest back in the day. So, yeah, no word on how or why, what were the cause of his death, but he was only 51, I think, so he was quite a young man.
That's bad.
So, going from some sad news to some slightly better news, Samurai Showdown is coming to the Switch. Q1 2020.
Yay.
I'm
pretty straightforward.
I'm happy with that.
The cool thing about this one is that it's going to have I think it's a pre-order bonus, Neo Geo Pocket Samurai Showdown. I can't remember if it was 1 or 2, so that was neat. I know Daz is happy about this.
Yeah. I've been dying to get, even for the Xbox One, it's just not cheap. It's just not a cheap game to buy.
Wow. Yeah,
so
it would be fairly hard to find as well, because those games are generally kind of niche. And then, once the release window kind of passes there, you don't see them very often. So, cool.
Yeah. And on some slightly even more exciting news, Valve has announced a new Half-Life game. It's called Half-Life Alyx.
How amazing.
It's a VR-only game.
How amazing does it look?
It looks great.
It looks really, absolutely really amazing. Shame I can't play it, but
Yeah.
Shame I can't. Yeah, I don't have VR for my PC, but yeah.
I know. I wonder if they could bring this to PlayStation or something. At least then you could use that VR with it.
Mm.
But it's set between the first and the second Half-Life. It looks beautiful. Valve have their own VR tech that actually incorporates gloves of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the game will make use of that too. But they have said that even if you don't have their headset, it will work with Oculus and HTC Vive.
With all of them, yeah.
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 And they said pretty much that, look, the way they've designed the game and the sort of elements the game has, it's impossible to do it with just a keyboard and mouse. So you really need a VR headset to enjoy this. So, look, the sad thing is I don't have a VR headset for a PC, and they aren't cheap to buy, unfortunately. But maybe this will lead to greater adoption, and maybe that will help drive the price of virtual reality headsets down. It's exciting news either way. People have been waiting. I can't remember how many years. Is it 13 years since Half-Life 2? Something like that. It's a long time.
Not sure.
Mm. And some other interesting news we had was they recently discovered a unreleased version of the Sonic 3 game. So this was one that was given to a particular game review company to review back in the day. And the ROM has surfaced. And what was interesting about this version of Sonic 3 was that it had an additional move which didn't make it to the final game. It was called a drop dash, where you would push up and jump, and when you'd land, you'd dash off. So that didn't make it to the final game. The levels were a bit different, and
is it finished though?
No, it's not finished. You can play it, and I did give it a quick crack. The intro is a little bit different. When you start, you get a level select, so you can choose any level you like, obviously, because the game wasn't complete. And some of the sound elements weren't all there either.
Okay.
So, yeah, look, it's not something you're going to play through, but as a bit of nostalgia, it's an interesting thing nonetheless. So if you do want to get a hold of it, I think Hidden Palace has got it available or somewhere like that. But I'm sure if you look for unreleased Sonic 3, it will pop up and you can take a look.
Yeah, you can also download it from the Kotaku article as well. I just grabbed it, actually. Yeah, I should have. I'm spinning. I didn't actually. I completely forgot to actually try it today. I would have chucked it in the EverDrive and gave it a go. But no, completely forgot.
I never realised Sonic 3 had such a difficult development.
But
according to some of the articles I've read, it was originally going to be like an isometric game, and then it got changed to a 2D platformer, and then they took levels out that would eventually make it into Sonic and Knuckles. So there was a bit of chaos involved in the development of Sonic 3.
Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles is actually the second half of Sonic 3. It was supposed to all be on one cart, but they couldn't fit it, and they wanted a game out. I think it was for just before Christmas or something, and they go, let's just release it. And that's why Sonic and Knuckles has got the how you can piggyback it.
Yeah.
Just so you can get the full game. Quite smart.
Cool. So we're nearly done with the news. There wasn't another con on recently called Exile Con. So there is a New Zealand game development company. It started, I think, with only 4 people. I don't know if they're just 4 people now. But they actually created Path of Exile, which is a very popular and long-running Diablo type action looter. And they had their own little Exile Con in New Zealand, and they announced Path of Exile 2 as part of that convention. Now, what's interesting about Path of Exile is it is a free-to-play game, and they don't charge for any pay-to-win type mechanisms. You can buy cosmetic stuff, and literally just through all those sorts of cosmetics, they have sustained themselves for years on end. It's an amazing story, and a testament to, I guess, a loyal fan base and a good game that they keep building on. And they have seasons similar to Diablo. They do all sorts of events. And Path of Exile 2 is not going to be it is a new game, but it's also not an entirely separate game. You can carry your progress on from Path of Exile 1 into number 2. It will have an entirely new story, but it will contain similar classes, I think, to the current Path of Exile. So I thought that was kind of cool. I did play Path of Exile for a little while, but I found the overhead view was a little bit zoomed in for my liking compared to something like Diablo, and it wasn't really adjustable. So that kind of put me off. But if you've ever played the game, and Daz, you'd freak out, the skill tree for it, or whatever they call it, is ginormous. It's kind of like this huge web of all these little circles, and you start at one point, and you can essentially put points towards.
Is it just overwhelming?
Circles. It would blow your mind. If you're the type of person that likes to analyze things, you would be there for days on days trying to work out what's the best path to get things soonest. Lastly, Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That came out recently, and it seems to be plagued by a few issues. One of them, which, Daz, you brought up, was around camera angle problems. Did you want to elaborate on this a little bit?
Geez, you know me think now. Yeah, it's when I saw it, it's like, I think it was during. It's obviously just multiplayer. So, for example, you could be hiding behind a rock, for example, and you'd get someone else hide behind a wall. But just say I was the person behind the wall and I'm trying to shoot at Mark. I can see Mark because I'm looking over the wall, but Mark can't see me. So yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I mean, and people are dying everywhere just because of this bug. It's just actually quite interesting how they figured it out. Yeah, it's just But yeah, that's broken as hell, man. When I saw that, I thought, I got to tell the boys about this one. I'm not really into these newer Call of Duty type games, but when I saw this, I go, oh, geez, that's a game breaker. That.
I'm surprised something like this would come up after so many other Call of Duties have been out.
Yeah,
surely this wouldn't be an issue. It almost feels like when you saw the video or videos of this, it looks like the field of view is different for both people. So
Correct.
One's got almost a narrower field of view, can't see the other person, but the other person can clearly see them and just snipe them from, miles away. So it's pretty broken. I'd be quite frustrated if I was playing multiplayer, but I'd probably only play single player anyway.
So,
all right.
yeah.
Any other news you want to raise before we wrap up the news?
No, I'm all right at my end.
No? Nope. Cool. All right, so we'll move on to our discussion for the episode. And Daz, you came up with a great one, I think. So what games killed or almost killed a series for you? Who wants to go first?
I'll go first, seeing that I thought of this. This game kind of killed it for me. But I guess it didn't because I still play the older ones, and I will be more than happy to try the next version. Mark's obviously, look, I don't know, he's not going to agree with me totally, but I was gutted with Street Fighter V. At the start, it was okay, but I lost all my love for that game, just because I just found it messy. I don't know. That's just me. I know it's touchy for Mark, but it killed. It did actually kill a lot for me. I lost interest. I didn't like the way it played. I don't know. I felt like it went backwards from 4. I loved 4. There's nothing else I really got much to say about it. I think it was a pretty looking game and all. I just think it was just I don't know. It just didn't feel right. I couldn't keep up getting new characters all the time. It just got too expensive. It's funny because it worked for me with what's it called? Killer Instinct. Because that was kind of the same thing, but Mark, I don't know, you might have a better explanation why maybe that worked better.
Okay, so I think we're actually more on the same page than you realise.
Okay,
because what you said to me is it killed the series for you, right?
Yeah, for me, yeah.
Your interest in the game, it's your interest for the game. You don't enjoy it.
No.
I'll let you in on a secret. I don't enjoy it that much either.
Okay.
Right? I don't play it that much anymore. Like, compared to how much I played 4, I played this more at the start because it was a new Street Fighter. There was no way I was not going to play it.
Likewise.
Right? But as the game has gone on, what I've realized is I like playing Street Fighter 5 on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't had really much of a chance to play it with you guys because you guys don't enjoy it, and that's fair enough. But when I play the game online, I fucking hate it. I really, really hate it. Like, it is not fun to me because I don't like a lot of the mechanics. It's like it's not the type of.
It's too generous.
It's just like, I hate the fact that if you, there's nothing wrong with being punished for making mistakes, but like the crush counter stuff, you know, like, which leaves you basically vulnerable for like 2 or 3 seconds. Like, it's just, no, man, that's just shit. And the netcode is garbage. Like, and this is like a well documented thing. Like, I could be potentially be seeing one thing on my screen, and Dazzle could be seeing something completely different.
Really?
So, you know, but to get more to your point, I think why Street Fighter V rubs you the wrong way compared to Killer Instinct is that Street Fighter V, when it launched at $60. Killer Instinct was essentially a free-to-play game.
Yeah.
If you're going to go down this season route, and other games have done it in the past, that's how you do it. League of Legends have done it. Look how much that game blew up.
Mm-hmm.
Dota's done it. Man, Dota has pro player championships where they're giving $5 million in prize money.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all from making money from your cosmetics and all your kind of stuff. Fortnite,
yeah.
Again, you know, a prime example. Whereas Street Fighter V launched at full price, charges you $30 or $40 for 6 characters, plus then you've got to buy stages, which the stages you can earn with the fight money, right? And then, you know, you've got costumes and all the like. Where I take exception to what some of the people say is that Capcom said that you will never need to buy another disc again, and that's not true because they've released 2 upgrades. No, sorry, but that's not the case. Because they've just announced another upgrade coming out at the start of next year called Champion Edition. You don't have to buy that. When that releases, whatever balance changes and things like that come out, you will have access to those. What you won't have access to is the new characters coming out and any new stages. That stuff needs to be bought. And that's the difference between 5 and 4. So when 4 went from, example, the base game to, say, Super or to Arcade Edition, if you had the base game, you couldn't play with the players that were playing Super or Arcade Edition. Each iteration that they made the previous ones redundant. Whereas with 5, love it or hate it, each new edition that they've released, all those players can still play together. And that's the important thing. They may not have all the access to the characters and stuff, but you can still, if you've got your character that you like and you don't like the others, you can still jump online and play with all those other people. Whereas with 4,
fair enough, you
couldn't do that.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay. But like I said, gameplay-wise, I'm not a big fan of 5. And what I don't like what Capcom's done, like, and you know, with the whole fight money system, as the seasons have gone on, they've made it harder to get it. That's been the dick move. That's the typical Capcom fucking you over move, right? So they've made it difficult, and then that because that in turn does make it harder to, if you can't afford to buy characters, that currency that they promised, that's where they've screwed you over. It's not the discs, it's not the upgrades, that's where they've, and when they started doing that, that's when they killed my interest because, like, treat your player base with a bit of respect. It's just, look, I could go on for days.
Yeah.
But like
see, in that turn,
the page that we
Yeah, so like from what you're saying there, right, about, you know, screwing people over with the fight money, that wouldn't be an issue if you didn't have to pay for that first disc. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah. I get
what I mean?
saying. Like, I don't think they ever intended for people to buy everything with fight money, because otherwise, how do you sustain?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, it's gotten more dickish as time has gone on. That 100%. And look, I've ragged on Street Fighter V since it came out. But like I said, it's just the things that I take exception to is where they've said, you know, where people call out, oh, you know, they've screwed you over twice with updates and stuff like that. Well, it's like, no, mate, sorry, but you're just not. You're reading into this what you want to read into it. Mm-hmm. You're not looking at the bigger picture. But
yeah, I get what you mean now. I get what you mean.
But I get why you don't like the game. It's for this same reason that I don't particularly like playing the game anymore.
Yeah, I can't see myself in another 5-10 years going back to play it, like, for example, Street Fighter 3, Third Strike.
No.
When that came out, I was like, oh, this is not great. But now I go back, it's like, damn, this is like when the Dreamcast version came out, I was like, shit, look what I missed out on. This is actually really good. And like you said, you probably thought that nearly killed the series, true?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, when I first played Street Fighter 3, it was New Generation, and I was so disappointed. Like, it was just like, where are my favorite characters gone? Like, where's Guile? Where's Blanca? Where's Guile?
Guile, yeah.
Where's Guile?
You know, like, and again, it felt like a step backwards. Like, a lot of the stuff that we got, like, once we got to Turbo and, like, with Hype and all that kind of stuff was gone. And it was just, I still remember to this day, man, just like feeling like almost like hollow. Like, this is not what I want, you know, from a Street Fighter game. But yeah, thankfully that it got better. As they released more iterations of it. But
cool. All right, there's my rant anyway. Any of you two, is there a game that killed the series for you or nearly killed the series?
Mark, did you want to comment?
Probably one for me, like when it first came out. The only one I can really, besides Street Fighter 3, but we've shit on Street Fighter enough.
Yeah.
Is Diablo 3?
Oh,
when it first came out.
Yeah.
Like the real money auction house and all that kind of stuff, and it just didn't feel like Diablo to me, and it was just really, really disappointing. But yeah,
I remember playing it when it first came out, and I was pretty much just every second level going to the auction house to buy the next piece of gear. And it was like, this is not how Diablo's meant to be.
No,
you know.
Exactly.
And I wasn't using real money, I was using the gold that I was earning in the game. But it's like, Diablo's about finding that cool piece out in the wild. But because they had such terrible itemization as well, I'd keep finding int gear for a barbarian or whatever. It was just easier to go to this auction house to keep my gear up to date, but that took the whole fun out of it. Diablo's about finding that rare loot out after killing, a tough monster.
So I started.
And all that kind of stuff.
I started on Diablo on part
online,
3.
Always online was a big deal for people as well. So look, they kudos. They did fix, I guess it over time. But man, it was a bit of a shock when it first came out. Do you have any other ones, Mark, aside from Diablo 3?
I'm trying to think. I actually thought of one the other day, and it's slipped my mind now. I can't, for the life of me, I can't think of it. So I'm going to say,
yeah,
this is going way, way, way back.
Yeah, why not?
Double Dragon 3. Dragon 3.
Yeah. I think it did kill the series.
Yeah, and it's funny because it has some kind of the same problems that Diablo 3 had, in that, remember you had to put money in to buy
more lives, yeah. Yeah. That is madness. That's ridiculous.
That was bad. And that game, and like the combat and everything about it was just, ugh. Yeah, no, that was horrible. That's a horror.
Yeah, that's a good one, man. Yeah. That did kill the series. It did kill it. Because 4 that just come out in the last year or so isn't really Double Dragon. It's
no.
All right, Davo.
It's funny for me. It's threes. It's always threes. So Diablo 3 was one, and it didn't kill the series, but it definitely put a bad mark on it. Mass Effect 3 had a similar impact as well. 1 and 2 were brilliant. 3 didn't play as well. The ending was horrible until they rewrote it and everything.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, I remember people complained.
Massive. Oh, the internet went spastic.
Honest opinion. Should the game been left like that and that's it?
I don't know. I mean, it is. I think that was probably one of the earlier internet cries I recall. You know what I mean? There's been many since then. So, and they did make another Mass Effect afterwards, but it didn't really have much impact. So, it's funny, the threes. The other one was Dead Space. Did you ever play Dead Space?
No.
That was a great...
A little bit.
You had a friend that loved it.
Great third-person survival horror on a spaceship. You know, you upgraded weapons and stuff. And number 1 and 2 were great. And then number 3 just sort of changed things, simplified things. I think I can't remember if they monetized some of the single-player game in that one. I can't remember, but I remember starting it and just going, this is utter trash, and not playing the rest of it. And I think that's the last Dead Space they've done, so that probably did kill the series, sadly. And probably the last one I'll mention is, well, I could say Fallout 76, but it's a bit of a different game, so...
I was actually I was in Target today, and they were selling it for $15.
Wow,
and
that's
even
too
then
expensive.
I still buy it.
Dude, they were giving that game away for free when you bought a controller or something at Harvey Norman.
Yeah. I think they did that at EB as well. I'd probably say the other one was Borderlands the Pre-Sequel. So Borderlands 1 and 2 were pretty good. The Pre-Sequel pretty much did exactly what 2 did, but it was just more monotonous and boring. And I think it really highlighted at that point just how tired the series was. It wasn't a very lengthy series, but it was like, we've seen all this bad comedy and humor before, and all you've done is add some mechanics that make you backtrack a truckload every time you do a quest. So, I was very doubtful that it'd ever be a Borderlands 3. I'm glad one did come out. Is it revolutionary Borderlands 3? No, not really, but it's a darn sight better than Pre-Sequel was. So I think 3 is the charm, and 3 could potentially be the game killer as well for a lot of series. I mean, even Streets of Rage 3, you could argue, in a sense.
Oh, no, really? I loved it.
You know, I like to play it from time to time, but it lacks that polish. The sound effects are nowhere near as good as number 2. The animations aren't as good. There are unique things that they added, like that level with the bulldozer chasing, which is a fucking pain in the ass. Sorry to swear. And some of the new characters added were great, but it's just not as clean. It's not what Streets of Rage was known. Like when you play number 2, it's just like this is an arcade beat 'em up that you're playing. You know, it's that quality, and I think they lost that with 3. So yeah.
No, I love 3. Besides the music, I think the music was shit.
The music wasn't as good, but it was still Yuzo Koshiro, though, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's just the music wasn't great, but no, I think it's a beautiful looking game, and I think it plays fine.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, suppose if you play the Japanese version, it's easier.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, US version and the Western release is a lot harder. Yeah. There you go. It's usually the other way around.
What was that, sorry?
It's usually the other way around of difficulty. Usually Japanese versions are harder, but...
They are, I know.
Yeah.
That's very strange. Alrighty. I think that's about it.
It's a wrap up.
We'll wrap this up. Daz, would you like to give your regular shout-outs?
Shout out! Yeah!
What the hell? Where'd she go from? Oh, jeez. It's so funny. I love it because David loves it. But Mark's just like...
I do.
Mark is just like...
Mark's warming to it. He's warming to it.
Slowly.
You'll like it one day.
Slowly. I had to kick her on the side there so she can go. Shout out to everyone that listens in, obviously. Shout out to who listens in on Arcade Perfect podcast as well with myself and Sean Tagster. Our next game is Flying Shark with Paul McCaskey. He's our guest for that one, so listen out for that in the coming weeks. Yeah, just say to everyone that listens in, we appreciate it, and yeah. But you guys.
Cool.
Yeah, just shout outs to everyone that listens. Yeah, we really appreciate it. It's been really, really cool to, whenever you launch a new podcast, you never know how it's going to go. So, yeah, really, really happy to see how we've done this year. So, again, thanks everyone for sticking with us throughout the year.
So what? Yeah, we'll probably have one or two more before the end of the year. Yeah, so we might go on a holiday. I think.
Yeah, getting close to Christmas. So I'm guessing we'll probably have to do like the usual Game of the Year episode type deal maybe soon. All the big releases are out now. So
yeah, we'll do like a poll or something on our page. Who knows?
Sounds good.
Davo. Any shout-outs for you?
I've got nothing to say as usual.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, everyone. We'll probably just wrap it up then. And we will see you next time for episode 15.
There you go.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta. Bye.
Adios.